We've covering China and the technology threat. Huawei technology is recently at the center of intense international scrutiny as several countries begin sounding the alarm on the potential threat to national security. Now the company is fighting to repair its image, taking out a full-page print advertisement in yesterday's Wall Street Journal titled this, "Don't believe everything you hear. Come and see us," urging American journalists to visit the company's campuses. And joining me right now is the Chief Security Officer of Huawei Technologies, Andy Purdy. Andy, it's good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, but let's kick it off with your ad that you took out in the Journal right here. Don't believe everything you hear. What are you trying to do with this ad? Tell us what your mission is at Huawei as you begin this PR campaign.
Well, for one, Maria, we'd love to invite you and your team to come to Huawei to see what's there and what we do and get to know us. So it's part of trying to open up the dialogue, because that's what's fundamentally important. The dialogue about how to address real cybersecurity risk. And we believe there are proven mechanisms to do it so that companies and governments can take advantage of the most innovative technologies in the world. So we're trying to facilitate that conversation, which has sometimes been a little difficult to focus on the facts.
Well, I want to focus on the facts this morning because you're talking about how to deal with cyber intrusions, and people look at Huawei as one of the big perpetrators of cyber intrusions. Are you saying that Huawei Technologies has not stolen trade secrets from other companies in the West?
What I'm saying is that the pressure on Huawei is part of the geopolitical dynamic between the U.S. and China. It's also part of the fact that the U.S. government is trying to seriously address the risk to the United States globally with the rising power of China economically and militarily, and trying to do a whole lot more, led by the Department of Homeland Security, to protect our critical infrastructure and work to protect our allies. So the communication sector is an important part of it. We have been trusted for the last 30 years in 170 countries. There have been no major cybersecurity incidents involving Huawei in the world. But we're not saying that because of that record, there should not be strict scrutiny of the kinds of products and technologies that we sell. No, in fact, we're saying that there needs to be a greater effort to address the risk from all technologies and all products. That's what's going to be necessary to help make us all safer so we can confidently use the new technologies.
Well, wait a second. You just said there have been no major issues around Huawei, but in fact, over the last several years, I can cite a list of companies that have sued you and you've done settlements with. Motorola Solutions, T-Mobile, Cisco. All of those companies sued Huawei for stealing trade secrets.
There have been no major cybersecurity incidents in the world involving Huawei. That industry and the fact that we've had some lawsuits in the past has characterized the industry for the last 20 years. We have resolved those issues, and we're moving forward. The remaining issues we hope to resolve in the next year or so.
Andy, it's not accurate to say that there were no issues around Huawei when you had lawsuits for stealing trade secrets. Huawei settled a lawsuit with Motorola Solutions for stealing trade secrets. You settled a lawsuit with Cisco for stealing router trade secrets. So are you saying that, yes, these issues and lawsuits went on in the past and we settled them, and now we're not going to steal anymore? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying two things. I'm saying that, but I'm also saying there have been no major cybersecurity incidents in the world in the 170 countries in which we do business. Our customers trust us around the world, and we believe there are additional mechanisms that can be done so we can provide assurance and transparency so that we can help make the America benefit from us being allowed to compete.
Look, I understand that you are on this PR trip today and you have this a whole page ad in the Journal, and I agree that Huawei needs to convince the world that we can actually trust the products of the company. But to say there have been no issues with Huawei is just 100% inaccurate. I just listed the number of companies that have sued you for stealing trade secrets and the settlements that you've done.
Maria, I did not disagree with the facts of those cases.
Okay.
I did not disagree with those.
Okay. Okay. Recently, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was in the studio. He had just come back from Europe, and he talked about the threats because he was trying to do his own PR campaign throughout Europe, telling European countries, if you have Huawei Telecom, you're going to get less information from the United States. Listen to this. Got to get your reaction to the Secretary of State of the United States. Europe is pushing back on this idea that President Trump and your administration wants to ban or potentially slow down the use of Huawei technology. Is that what you found in Europe?
We've been out around the world just making sure everybody had the same information, that countries understand the risk of putting this Huawei technology into their IT systems. We can't forget these systems were designed by with the express work alongside the Chinese PLA, their military in China. They are creating real risk for these countries and their systems, the security of their people. If a country adopts this and puts it in some of their critical information systems, we won't be able to share information with them. We won't be able to work alongside them.
Your reaction?
Well, obviously, the U.S. has been on a global campaign to try to stop companies and countries from using Huawei. I just got back from 2 weeks in Poland. I was there when Secretary Pompeo and Vice President Pence were there. The fact is there are real risks in cyberspace. The fact is that the benefits that are going to come from 5G are tremendous. But there are measures that need to be taken. There are standards that still need to be developed that need to address the risk that can exist from all products. There are at least 5 nations in the world that can virtually implant malicious functionality in products. We as a nation, we and our allies need to do a better job of coming up with objective and transparent mechanisms to address those risks. We support addressing those risks, and we look forward to working with the U.S. government and with the other governments we've been working with. The U.K., Germany, and others believe there are ways, despite what the warnings from the U.S., and they're among our closest allies, they believe the risk can, in fact, be addressed, and I think the major carriers in the world know that.